Good. One today is Wednesday, March 13th, 2025. Update for Thursday, 20th. All right, let's go. A little bit of a bounce in CCL. That can be expected on the short side. We'll take a look at that in just 1 second. New setup in here tonight. BR. I've been watching this one for a while. Looks like it's in the early phases of big trouble. We'll get to that in just 1 second. I still like Dash. Let's keep the original entry in here for now. Give it a little wiggle room just in case it fakes out. Again, here's a CCL. Longer term still looks like it's in trouble. I've obviously on your stops just in case. BR. This is one, like I said, it's been catching my eye quite a bit. It's sort of still in that first breakdown. I guess technically your bow tie was here, but it's sort of still really in that first leg down, and it does have a ways to go before it starts getting some support. So that's why I like that one. One lonely long in here if you really felt like you had to buy something, but I don't see any reason to go after anything in this market. But it is a decent looking setup. Nice little deep pullback in a stock that's been on a run as of late. And the rest of these that are flagged or also shorts that are setting up. But the one reason I want to show them to you is just to show you how to stack it up. Here's a broker dealer. There's another broker dealer. Morgan Stanley was in this list. I think I called it out. But there's Hood. There's another broker dealer. So we might start going after those type of stocks fairly soon. Let's take a look at the overall market, and then we'll do a little drilling down, obviously. First of all, S&P 500. Nice rally off its best levels, though, and only up, it's so weird. This market has become so volatile. You're like, well, it's only up 1%, which is 60 points, which used to be huge in the P's, right? But still, just not really much higher than it was a few days ago. So just not a lot to get excited about just yet. So don't get too caught up in the ticks. Make sure you see the forest for the trees when you're looking at a market like this. And just keep an eye, for starters at least, on the 200 simple moving average. As long as you're below that, given the nature of this slide, market so far is in trouble. Now, if it bottoms out after a long bottom and then it comes up to meet the 200, that's a different story altogether. But we're just breaking down below that 200 recently. There's a NASDAQ well off its best levels in here. Still up almost 1.5% on the day, but look at that. It tailed off big time. So not selling is met with buying, or shorting is met with buying. So that's kind of interesting. It's like we never did see the big panicky short covering rally from this slide just yet. And I find that somewhat amazing. Let's take a look at the Rusty. I guess somewhat, because the market could do whatever it wants, and whatever it does shouldn't surprise you, right? Rusty, so far, just pull it back a little bit, up 1.5%, better than poke in the eye, but it's got its work cut out for it. It remains in a pretty serious downtrend. Not a tremendous amount new to report tonight. A lot of areas that have recently taken off and come all the way back in, and now they're pulling back a little bit. So it looks like they could be in trouble. There's cybersecurity. John Ross, I believe, is pointing out copper and the Facebook group tonight. I do keep copper and all these commodity-related stocks or ETFs in my list for reference, just an FYI. And I will point them out here and there as I set up. And obviously, if any copper stocks set up, I'll let you know. There's Internet bouncing off that 200 a little bit. Still remains in a slide. That's kind of a reoccurring theme. Gold, again, one of the few areas doing okay. Copper, I guess, is a new one of those that are breaking out nicely. But gold, look at that, banging out some new highs with a bit of bigger gold stocks. A little bit of not quite a hookup, but started somewhat weak and then ended strong by the end of the day, banging out some new closing highs. So that's certainly a good thing there. As I said a second ago, broker dealers look like they're in trouble in here. Software, so far, just pulled back to that 200-day. Pretty big slide there. Transports, as has been saying, remaining a slide. So far, just pull it back. Jets, of course, kind of leading the way there. A little bit of a bounce today, right above the 200, but that's not enough to get excited about just yet. Foods have kind of rolled back over after coming up to tag that 200-day moving average. Leisure, and we can take a look at the ETF here. It looks a little bit worse. You can see, or looks worse than the MG group. Pretty serious slide. So far, just pulling back to that 200-day moving average. The list goes on and on. Let's take a look at a few more, but you kind of get the idea, right? Big slides, big bow ties off of all-time highs, double tops, or a top that overshoots the prior top, sort of like, I think, cyber computing. Yeah, would be a good example of that. Not a perfect example, but there's a few tops in here, and none come to mind at this second, but Well, maybe I can find you one. But as I've been saying quite a bit, sometimes a double top overshoots a prior peak by a little bit. It comes back in. Internet. That's the one I was thinking about. You can see how it took out this top with just not a whole lot of vigor, but it took it out, and that makes people think it's all clear. And then nope, it comes right back in, and that really gets a lot of people in trouble. Remember, everything is psychologically based with technical analysis. At least the way I look at it, not the mumble jumble stuff, obviously. Semiconductors, still a mountain of overhead supply. So far, just pull it back a little bit in here. Not enough to get excited about just yet. So they still look like they're in trouble. Again, the list goes on and on. So for now, let's continue to focus on the short side. I would avoid the long side for now unless we get some sort of intraday bounce or something in here. But I would leave the market alone as far as even as far as that goes. Be super careful out there. It's super volatile. But as the short side, again, remains a side to play. Just make sure, of course, you're waiting for entries. And then once you trigger, honor your stops. Everyone have a fantastic night. If you have any questions, you know the routine. Thank you so much.